What's up, everybody? Welcome into MLB DFS Live for Tuesday, September 1st, Bales. We've made it to September. Football,
Halloween season.
Halloween season. I love fall, which we discussed yesterday. Football 9 days away now. Man, that's going to be a good... I don't really like Showdown, personally, but that's such a good opening game, dude. Texans-Chiefs, that's like the best Showdown game you could have.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm sure my dad's gonna have a great job. He has won like ridiculous amounts of money doing these weird showdown slates. I'm sure he's gonna do something like start Darrell Williams at the captain slot or something. He'll score two and he'll win it. Or,
Dude, Will
you just
Fuller,
know how it goes.
are you putting Will Fuller at the captain? I mean...
I feel like everyone's on it now. Like I feel like I'll just go Brandon Cooks. No one is gonna go Cooks over Fuller, and they come with similar upside if they're both healthy. Like,
What about some Randall Cobb at the captain?
get out of here. I like Cobb,
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
but yeah, one's Fournette signs.
Dude, okay, I think he's going to Tampa. I think Tampa's my pick.
Yeah, it makes sense. He said he wants to play for the Rams, so
Why would the Rams want him, though? They just drafted Cam Akers. He's probably better.
I know. But are you gonna? What people don't get is like, are you gonna say no to Leonard Fournette for the veterans minimum? Like, don't get me wrong, he's a bust at his pick. But if you're gonna sign him for nothing because the Jags are gonna have to pay him anyway, like you're telling me you wouldn't just take Fournette for free? I would.
If I was the Rams, I probably wouldn't. But most teams, yeah, I guess. Like, the Rams have Akers,
I
and
don't
I
think
feel
he
like
does.
they're not... Like, I feel like they're just not going to run the ball a ton anyways, because they're not going to be good, so they may have to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he goes to the Rams. A lot of people are reporting that him and Jalen Ramsey are really
Yeah, I
close.
was
So
gonna say he probably just wants to be with Ramsey again. Would be my guess.
that would be my guess. But I would assume Tampa Bay, maybe like New England.
Yeah, I could see Tampa and New England both. I think that's probably the two likeliest spots. All right, you guys are here for us to talk about baseball, though. Football we'll save for next week. We'll have tons of football content, but we'll get into baseball for today. We do want to shout out our sponsor, Superdraft. Head over to superdraft.io. You can use promo code KARMA, get a $10 deposit bonus with your first deposit. Bales, this is for this being a chorus slate, I actually really like this slate. I think it's pretty straightforward for cash, but I like my build. Like when I was messing around with teams, like I actually liked what I had. Even if it's kind of chalky. Like I feel like it's just a pretty obvious spot for cash games. So I actually like this slate, and I think it's pretty good for tournaments too, because there are some spots I like that might be a little bit lower owned. We'll start at pitcher. Really, we have these guys at the top. We have Aaron Nola. Really, we have Aaron Nola and Framber Valdez, because I think that's the likeliest two guys that you would be spending on in cash games. Do you agree with me there?
Yep, I think that's. Yeah, I mean the only other one that I could see is I feel like Urias is going to get some ownership, but you can't convince me that he's a good cash play. And I don't know. I could see Plesac getting some ownership, but we talked a little bit before this where you were a little worried about his pitch count. So I think it makes more sense that Nola, Valdez would be the two and of like the 8K and above.
You don't want $9,400 John Lester?
I don't know, dude. He's pretty good. Didn't he throw like virtually a no hitter as long as he could and still scored under 20 fantasy points?
Yeah, there was a
Earlier
Sunday
in the year?
there was a Sunday slate earlier this year where he was chalk, and I just didn't play him. I will never play John Lester in DFS again. Like the time has come and gone. But yeah, I mean I think you could put Corbin in the Nola Valdez discussion. I think it's just you're not going to play him against Philly over Nola against Washington or over Valdez against the Rangers. Valdez, especially on DraftKings, where he's only $8,100, they really messed up there. He should be closer to he should be more expensive than John Lester for sure, and he should be probably more expensive than Urias as well. So he's just going to be massive chalk on DraftKings because of his price, and I think that you're plugging him into your SP1, and then that's when I think that you're just deciding between Nola or going down cheaper for like who you're going to pair him with. So I'm fine with Corbin in GPPs. I'm fine with Plesac in GPPs as well, but yeah, we were talking about them before the stream. He hasn't thrown in so long. I just have no idea if they're actually going to let him throw. Like, he wasn't hurt or anything, so he should be fine. But the Cardinals were obviously out for a much longer time, but we saw that they were limiting their pitchers a decent bit when they came back. So I just don't really want to risk that in cash games. And I also just don't know if he is that good. Like, he's looked really good this year, and I do believe in the Indians coaching staff with how they've handled their pitchers. But nothing really tells me that he's quite that good. Like, am I missing something? Like, has he ever been this good before, right? Like, he didn't profile to strike out over a batter per inning.
No, I think he's throwing better than he actually is, but I don't know. Sometimes, like in baseball, players just play really well, or like they get on. Like hot and cold streaks are a very real thing. So I don't necessarily think he's going to keep striking out this many guys, but I do think he can continue to throw extremely well. Like I don't have any issues more or less with his talent. I think probably at some point in time his fly ball rate catches up to him, especially if you're looking at like a game by game basis. And I think at some point in time, those strikeouts are probably going to drop. Like his swinging strike rate is up way. I think it's at like almost 14%, which makes sense that his K per 9 also increases. But when you look at like anything that he did in the minors, there's no way that he can strike out over 30% of batters. It's just, unless he's done something absolutely ridiculous, which is pitches that we haven't really noticed, there's just no way he can keep doing it.
Yeah, I'll have to dig into his pitch mix after we get on here. But like he's fine in tournaments. I'm just not gonna play him in cash. I think it's really Nola, Valdez, and Josh Lindblom who we'll get to. I think those are the three guys for cash games. Do you have anyone you like in this mid tier? Michael Pineda is back in our lives. You got like Tanaka against Tampa Bay. I really would be skipping the mid tier. I think you drop all the way down or you just go up outside of Valdez personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can take a shot on Tanaka if you want. I'm not going to do it. Like, I can already tell you that I will not be playing Tanaka tonight. I know that. I think if you're not paying up for someone, like, obviously, Lindblom's going to get quite a bit of ownership. I'm not going to play him at high ownership. Like, there's no way you can convince me to play him at chalk. I would probably, the highest I go out of the cheap guys, though, is probably Ian Anderson at 6,800. And that would be my pivot off of Chalk Lindblom if that's what's going to happen. Because like you just can't convince me that he's a good option if everyone's going to play him. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Lindblom I don't think is that good, but he's a righty. He's a serviceable righty against Detroit, and he's under 7K, and it's a Coors Field slate. So I just think that's really what's doing it. So for cash games, like, I'm probably just going to play him. For tournaments, you do not have to play him. I would be completely fine getting up to someone else in tournaments. And I also, if you just want to straight pivot off of him, he's the same price. Kevin Gausman, I know, is in Coors, but I mean, he's cheap, and he has really, like, the Giants have kind of taken all the good parts about Kevin Gausman and kind of made that what he is this season. He's been really good with the strikeouts. I'm really not scared of this Rockies lineup. Outside of Arenado, Story, Blackman, no one really worries me. Obviously, it's Coors Field, so he's probably going to give up some runs. But he's 6,600. You know, it's not like when you get Chris Paddock or someone like that, and they're 8, 9K in Coors Field. That's a little bit different. Or even Marquez, can be over 8K at home in Coors. But I mean, Gosman's really cheap, so I don't mind him as a pivot. Like, I think he could give up some runs and still outscore Josh Lindblom.
Yeah, I mean, he just gave up 4 to the Angels, I believe, a couple games ago, and he scored almost 20 fantasy points. So,
yeah,
I have no issues with that. I don't know. I feel like Ian Anderson, I know he's not as good as he threw, and he's pretty wild. So, like, any night is that blow-up night. But, I mean, he gets Boston, who we've already laughed multiple times at their lineup, and he's only 6,800, and it's not like his strikeout stuff is necessarily bad or anything. So I don't know. It just seems like if I'm going under 7K, I'm probably just using Ian Anderson.
Yeah, I think he's fine in tournaments as well. But that about does it for the pitching pool for me. If you guys have any questions on any other pitchers, go ahead and ask. Dallas Keuchel, I don't ever play Dallas Keuchel in DFS. Not playing him against the Twins. I will pass on that. As far as stacks go, I'm going to let you talk stacks because I think for cash games, the obvious stacks are Giants, who are extremely cheap on both FanDuel and DraftKings, against John Gray. And then you have the Indians, who get Matt Harvey. It's those two teams. Like, that's who you want to stack in cash games. And even single entry tournaments, I think that's just the clear top two spots. There are some other stacks that I think are good pivots off of those. So give me your favorite stacks today.
Yeah, there's four I would say that I'm really looking at. For the upside, you get the Mets in Baltimore against a fly ball pitcher. I mean, it just makes sense that you would use them, especially on a night where they get overlooked. You get Houston against Jordan Lyles, who I think is making a strong case for worst pitcher in the MLB right now. So I have no problems using Houston. Not to mention, like, everyone's worried about them not being able to cheat. Doesn't matter. They still have a lot of bats that can do a lot of damage. Milwaukee in more or less a bullpen game. We know Fulmer's going to go about 3. I think Daniel Norris is taking over then, so I have no problems with Milwaukee. And then I'm going to drop down for just the weirdest total on the slate. The White Sox, their implied total is 4.6 runs against Pineda, who hasn't thrown in, almost a year, basically. If you look at the way he throws, just last year in Minnesota, his home run per 9 against right-handed batters at home was over 2. And now he gets a matchup against the White Sox, who are probably the most powerful offense in the entire MLB, especially loaded with right-handed batters. So I'll take a look at the White Sox just because, one, they're expensive. No one's going to play them. They haven't been overly owned in good matchups recently, and now their implied total is only 4.6. So you can take your shot there for sure.
Yeah, I like all those calls. Somebody just asked about a med stack on FanDuel. It's funny that, so normally when Asher Wojciechowski pitches, the opposing team is chalk, right? That's who you're stacking in cash games. And that's just not the case tonight because the Indians get Matt Harvey and the Giants get John Gray and Coors Field. So, yeah, the Mets are definitely right there. I think that the Cubs for me are there. I like Chad Kuhl, I really do. In real life, I think that he has potential. He's just really struggled with injuries in his career. He looked really good his first couple outings this season, but he's just reverted right back to what he was in years past over his last few outings. Strikeouts have gone completely down. He's getting hit hard by lefties. You have Kyle Schwarber, Anthony Rizzo, Jason Hayward. And then you have other guys like Javi Baez and Contreras as well. Like, I think the Cubs are right there. And I think the Braves are there as well just because, not that Weber's very good, but the Red Sox bullpen is just bad as well. So I think this is such, and Houston, like you said, Houston is a great stack as well. This is such a good tournament slate because everyone's going Indians and Giants. Like, just, this is the perfect night to play 3 max. And just pick 3 of those stacks and use them.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's so many that are so good, honestly. Like,
yeah, it's a really good slate.
Yeah.
This is a night to fire up the optimizer, dfskarma.com. Is it bad to only look at BVP? Yes, Boston fan. I don't look at BVP at all, really. Bales, I don't know if you disagree. I know some people do, but it's just not really reliable in my opinion. The sample sizes are often very small and outdated. If you want to look at BVP, I would go to Baseball Savant and pull up the daily matchups page, and then you can look at, average exit velocity and xWOBA against that certain pitcher. I think that is more helpful rather than BVP, especially if you're talking about the StatCast data, which I think is much more usable. So if you're going to look at BVP, I would go over to Baseball Savant and check that out. All right, we'll move to the positional plays. Bales, I'll let you start out at catcher. I think this is another night to spend down in cash games, though.
Yeah, if you're running cash, it's going to be Stallings again. What is he, like 2,700?
Yeah, 2,700 against John Lester. And he did score, 9 DraftKings points last night?
Yeah, he also hits like not high in the lineup, but I think he's expected to hit sixth tonight. So like if you look at the guys below him, you have like Perez for min price, which completely fine. Like take your shot there if you want, but he's going to hit ninth against Tanaka. There's most catchers hit 8 or 9. That's just the way it is. If you're not using Stallings, who I think also can be used in tournaments, like I have no issue spending down there. Travis Darnell makes a lot of sense just because of his upside. You have guys like Contreras. Maldonado is pretty expensive, but obviously gets the matchup against Texas and Jordan Lyles. Grandal, I have no problems. He's back in the lineup. You can use someone like that. Either catcher and Coors, I have no problems with. Joey Bart is 4,000, which is expensive for a catcher, but not overly expensive for Coors. So feel free to go there if you want. Or I'm not even opposed to JT Realmuto. 5,100 against Patrick Corbin is a lot, but you're going to get him at super low ownership. He gets a ballpark boost, and he's like one of very few catchers that are like legitimately one of the best hitters in baseball.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if you're playing tournaments, like I'm playing Stallings and Cash, I think if you're playing tournaments, Grandal, who should be back in the lineup today, and Wilson Contreras, I think those are my two favorites. Just sticking with the stacks I like. Frank's getting in early with his home run call, picking Max Kepler.
Lefty against a guy that doesn't give up many fly balls. I'm intrigued by the pick.
Getting in early. Yeah, Jacob says Narvaez. Yeah, you can use him as well. He was decently. It was basically him and Stallings and Cash yesterday. I think it's probably one of those two again. I just slightly prefer Stallings. Like I think Stallings is actually like a pretty decent hitter, which I actually think Narvaez isn't bad either. But anytime I can pick on John Lester, I'm gonna do so.
It makes sense. I mean,
it's just he's so bad, dude. First base. For cash games, it's Brandon Belt or Carlos Santana for me. For tournaments, oh man, I mean Anthony Rizzo is right there with my Cub stack. I think I would have to include him. Who do you like outside of? I mean, I think it's like, what would you guess the total ownership between Belt and Santana is? I think it's gonna be at least in cash. It's probably over 60%. I would guess.
You would think so. I feel like Freddie Freeman could get some ownership too, though. I guess maybe not. He's 5,300. That's expensive. But the problem is, I think most people are going to go Valdez Lindblom, and if that's the case, like you can spend up elsewhere. So yeah, I guess I could see Freddie Freeman getting some ownership.
Yeah, Pete Alonso's 4,400 on DraftKings. I think that makes a ton of sense. Jacobson, I haven't seen the Brewers lineup popped up. I'm going to refresh my page, but Narvaez is leading off. I think that's going to push some heavy ownership there, I think, in cash.
Oh, he's leading off?
Apparently. I'm going to update my lineup page here. Hold on.
I haven't seen it yet. Dom Smith is 4,600 too, and he's been playing extremely well.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Dude, the Mets are so interesting. It's so funny that they're not going to be like the highest on stack. It's really funny. Oh, he said projected to lead off. Okay, I was gonna say because I did not see the Brewers lineup pop up. I guess we'll see. If he is leading off, that would definitely push him ownership there. Second base. Yeah, that's what Jacob said. I don't know. I
think he's projected to hit sixth.
Okay, I don't know what he's looking at though, but whatever he's looking at might say that. Second base. I think for cash, Cesar Hernandez, fitting with the Indians, is going to get some ownership here. I don't mind paying up for Keston Hiria. I played him on FanDuel yesterday, and he hit a home run, so that's pretty good. At his price, ownership will be low at his price on DK because everyone's going to be focusing on the Indians guys who are a little bit like, Lindor and Ramirez are expensive. So we do have money to spend, but I don't see people getting up to 5K for their second baseman. And then you have Altuve at 5K as well, who has looked a little bit better.
Yeah, I like Altuve. I don't know, not a position I like. I'll add Robinson Cano. I just feel like he's always a reasonable option. Besides that, though,
What's Cano's price on DK?
4,400.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably play Caesar over him in cash, but I definitely understand it. Madsen chat, home run Franmil Reyes. Yeah, you sound like Anthony now. Hint for
Oh shit!
everyone. I saw a preview of AC's core plays for tonight. Franmil Reyes is included in his core plays. If you guys want a small hint.
We'll let everyone guess who the other guys in the lineup are.
Yeah, yeah, for real. Dude, he always gets the Indians right though. I don't know how he does it. Like, obviously it's Matt Harvey, so it's not like he's going out on a limb. But whenever he
Yeah.
plays the Indians, they do go off. So I do trust him when he's on the Indians. Thanks for the follow, Texas. All right, we'll move on to third base. Are you playing Jose Ramirez in cash? Because I'm about 98% sure I will be playing him in cash.
Yeah, I would assume so. It's so tough because Arenado's only 200 more, but I don't really want to play Arenado against Gossman. So, like, yeah, I think I would go Ramirez in cash.
Yeah, it's probably Ramirez for me. If you're gonna not play Ramirez, I'd probably just drop down to Evan Longoria fitting with the Giants, and then you have freaking Austin Riley. He's 3,400. He is in play, man. Dude, this dude buried me on DK yesterday.
Yeah, me
He
too.
was like 70% owned, maybe not 70. He was high. He was like 70% on FanDuel, and I still cashed without him, so that was fine. But DraftKings, when he hit the home run, it was over for me.
I think he actually hit check or something.
Dude, it was so tilted.
He hit a triple. He had 3 RBIs.
Okay, well, dude, that was
But
just so
regardless.
tilted. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just
I
ridiculous.
looked at my thing, and I didn't even realize that he was that high owned. Like, even in my tournament, he was 45%. I didn't notice it, and I was cashing in with every single lineup, and then I like clicked into it, and all of a sudden, no lineup was cashing. I was like, what could have possibly happened? And
Yeah.
it took me like 2 seconds to find out that Austin Riley
Well,
had.
he hit that like right around the same time that Alec Boehm hit a double. So I'm watching the Phillies and I see Alec Boehm hit this double. So I go to open the app and I'm like, okay, that's gonna help. And I just moved back like 100 spots and I was like, what is going on here? And then yeah, it was freaking Austin Riley. And then Duvall was shocked too, and he hit a home run, and he was shocked. So that was super tilting. But Riley is in play again today. He's not going to be as high owned as he was last night because you don't need the salary, but I will include him in my player pool.
Oh, I had Eric Gonzalez. He's going to lead off for Pittsburgh, and he hits lefties very well. We know that John Lester isn't very good. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, we didn't even mention the Pirate stack when we were talking stacks. But I mean,
You're just so bad is the problem.
I know, but so is John Lester. So one side of that has to win tonight.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
What happens when bad meets bad? You know, like head-on collision. What side's gonna take over?
What's going to happen is Lester's going to give up 3 runs, score 10 fantasy points, but none of the Pirates guys are going to do that well. They're going to score like 6 and 8.
It's he's gonna give up 3 runs and it's like on 7 singles. You know, just nothing good. Yeah, I can see that happening. Shortstop, again, it's Coors. It's probably Story or Lindor for cash. Slightly towards Lindor for me, just because of the price. Brandon Crawford's in the lineup for the Giants. I don't mind it if you're playing Giants, but I'm not overly joyed to play Brandon Crawford. I do want to include Dansby Swanson because I think Swanson's going to go under-owned because he's expensive enough that you would just jump to Lindor in cash games. And everyone played the cheap Braves yesterday, and you kind of mentioned Freeman earlier. Like, I think playing Freeman and Swanson is an interesting mini stack.
Yeah, I like that. I like Tim Anderson, but he's as much as Story is, so that's strictly GPP. But I don't know. Again, just a weird position where there's not like a ton of guys that I really want to use.
Yeah, Chris Taylor and Kevin Newman are both cheap as well, so if you want to go there in cash games over Crawford, I don't mind that. And then we'll finish up at outfield here. There's a ton of outfielders as always. I think you have the Coors guys if you're spending up. You have the Indians guys. Framil Reyes is really the Indians outfielder that you want. Nelson Cruz does get a lefty, but he's $6,200 on DraftKings Bills. Do you think you can fit that in?
No, no way. I can't imagine. I mean, the more I think about it, the more you probably do want to play him. But would you pay 6,200? Would you pay 400 more for Nelson Cruz against a ground ball pitcher than Mikey Yastrzemski in Coors?
Yeah, no, I would just play Mike Yastrzemski. So that's probably the guy that I really want to spend up on over Blackman in cash games. I don't know. Is the Braves lineup out? Do you know?
I don't think it's out yet. No.
Okay, because if Acuna is in the lineup, like if he's back tonight, he's still 4,800. So people will play him on DraftKings if he's in the lineup at 4,800. The guy I really like is Kyle Schwarber at 4,300. He's looked really good over the last 2 weeks. His advanced metrics look good. Batted ball data looks really good. I kind of talked about Chad Kuhl struggling against lefties earlier on. So I really like him. And then you have Jason Hayward as well, who is just hit 2 home runs and he's like $2,300.
Yep.
Lefty from the Cubs. I think those guys are both really strong plays in cash games.
I'll have like basically any of the Mets outfielders. Feel free. They have a bunch on DraftKings. George Springer, Michael Brantley are both solid for Houston. I have no problems with either there. Nick Markakis is still only 3,600. It's just way too cheap for where he's hitting in the Atlanta lineup. I have no problems with that. Yeah, that's more or less it. The guy that I was really looking at is Jason Hayward for 2,300. That price tag is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's really cheap. I guess the question would be Framil Reyes is 4,100. So Framil Reyes or Kyle Schwarber? I think you probably have to go Reyes, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to use Reyes, but I really like Schwarber. I think that about does it for us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bales, give me your home run call for today.
Oh man, I will go with. I want to pick a White Sox guy, but I'm gonna swap up and go with Dom Smith.
All right. Jack just said play Eloy Jimenez, as you said, White Sox guys. I thought you were gonna pick him, and that would have been some weird.
Jimenez was actually gonna be the guy that I was.
Dude, that would have been such like a weird thing if that would have happened. But I'm gonna take Kyle Schwarber as mine. Like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. Just over a week away from football. We dropped a really big promo today. If you guys are interested in signing up for NFL Core Plays, go head over to the DFS Karma Twitter. We did drop a promo today that gets you some money off if you're going to buy the season. Bales and I, like I said, we're going to do a Bold Calls podcast. We talk about some bold calls we like for the upcoming NFL season. We're going to record that Thursday night. So that'll be up late Thursday, early Friday. And tomorrow we'll see you guys back here for a baseball stream. If you need anything else, we will be in Discord.